Hello, creators. Here's the scoop on our in-person retreat schedule for 2026. Our next in-person retreat will take place on September 22nd through 25th, 2026. We will open early bird registration in 2025, so be on the lookout for that. You can learn more about the retreat and which track will be the right fit for you by heading to wellnesscentercreators.com/retreats. And feel free to email me directly at kendall@wellnesscentercreators.com with any questions. You might already be familiar with the name, but if it's new to you, Jane is a HIPAA-compliant clinic management software and EMR, and the sponsor of today's show. Chasing down patients or clients for important information isn't anyone's idea of a good time, especially when there are forms to be filled, payments to be processed, and consents to be collected. That's why Jane has designed user-friendly online intake forms, so you can gather all the information you need ahead of the appointment, whether that's health history, insurance details, or a credit card on file. Jane will even send a friendly reminder 24 hours before a patient's appointment if they haven't completed their intake form yet, saving you from having to manually follow up. To see Jane in action, head to jane.app to book a personalized demo. Or if you're ready to get started, you can use the code WELLNESS1MO at the time of sign up for a 1-month grace period applied to your new account. Hi there, and welcome to the Wellness Center Creators Podcast. I'm Kendall Hagensen.
And I'm Anna Rudell. We're thrilled to have you join us on this journey of creating innovative, patient-centered wellness centers.
As experienced health and wellness providers, we've seen firsthand the challenges of delivering comprehensive, holistic care to our patients.
That's why we created this podcast, to share the knowledge, strategies, and insights we've gained from our own experiences and from connecting with experts in the field.
Each episode, we'll dive into a different aspect of building and growing a successful wellness center, from developing a strong multidisciplinary team to implementing cutting-edge technologies and treatment approaches.
We'll also share practical tips, resources, and real-world examples to help you overcome common obstacles and streamline your processes.
Our goal is to empower you with the tools and confidence you need to create a thriving wellness center that truly makes a difference in your patients' lives.
So whether you're just starting out or looking to take your existing practice to the next level, you're in the right place.
Get ready to learn, grow, and be inspired. Let's create something amazing together.
Welcome to the Wellness Center Creators Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Wellness Center Creators Podcast. Today on the show, Anna and I are going to talk about rolling with the punches. Right, Anna?
We are rolling with the punches right now.
Well, we were just saying before we hopped on that the spring in particular, so we're recording this in April, it's always a transitional time, right? So in our clinic, there's typically some type of transition in the spring, either someone or more than one person leaves the team, or we're hiring to the team and growing during this time, or both. And right now, we're actually doing both.
Tell me more, Kendall. Who's going? Who's coming?
Yeah. So we have a mental health counselor leaving and a mental health counselor coming. And then our IV nurse had to transition out because I was explaining this to Anna. We're being affected by some of the just decisions from the current administration. That our IV nurse was doing a very part-time, shifts for us, and so she had a full-time position in a government agency, and her whole team was laid off, and so that she needed to find a new, more full-time role, which then conflicted with the shifts she was doing with us. And so then she was exiting, and then we're going to have a change with a part-time admin role as well. And so we're currently hiring in for that. And it always happens all at once.
Yes.
It always comes in waves, right?
Yes, absolutely. So are you through the interview process for the mental health practitioner?
Yes, we've already hired for the mental health therapist. who's
Lovely.
starting in a couple weeks.
Excellent. So you're in the process of onboarding there,
Right. Mm-hmm.
and then you're hiring for front desk admin.
Yes, I was telling Anna before we started recording, and I think our listeners can probably relate. When we open the position for online for administrative assistant or any kind of front desk, front office role, it always gets a lot of applications, right? And so I think our record last time we recruited for the role, we had 90 applicants, and this time we already have 50, and it's been less than a week. And what's
Mhm.
different this time, and I think it's a sign of the times, is most people who are applying could actually be, like, at least on paper, they're quite qualified for the position or overqualified. So we have many people are writing cover letters, which in the last 5 years in particular, it's very few and far between that anyone would write a cover letter.
Right. Yeah.
But we have multiple people writing cover letters. We have people who are completely overqualified applying for the role. So people with masters in business administration, other types of master's degrees, other professionals we have people writing on their cover letter, like, I'm intentionally making a shift from the tech industry to administration. Like I want to be an administrative assistant, but their entire background is working in tech at a really high level, right?
Right.
And
So
so,
what's your strategy?
well, this is what the discussion I think is about today is like, how do we adapt to these waves? Because, we're going along, we're minding our business, we're doing our job as director or owner or whatever our job is in our, current clinic or in our current job in our clinics. And then all of a sudden we have this wave of hiring. And for the admin assistant role, it's such a large quantity of people to review that it becomes all consuming if we let it. So there was a point, and of course I get a notification in my email every time someone starts an application, finishes an application,
Yes, yes, you have to turn that off, Kendall.
I have to turn it off. So I've on Friday, I had to finally say enough. It is enough. I set up 4 interviews for this week already 4 more for next week. And it's a process of elimination. Honestly, I just go with my gut and I
Yeah,
try not to second guess myself. And there's a point when you have 50 applications where there's one little thing on the resume that is kind of a turnoff to you, and you just have to hit disqualify, you know?
yeah,
And, I think my biggest piece of advice for people looking for jobs, it's like, truly, 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 we need succinct, organized information on resumes. Succinct and organized. And we want to see that you care about this position in particular, right? And I
yeah,
think for clinic owners, right, it's hard, especially an administrative assistant role, right? They're applying lots of places. There's lots of different openings. But in our clinics, right, and for our listeners, this is our home. These are our babies that we created and grew and raised. And we care so much. Like small businesses, we care about what we created. So we are looking for people who are actually seeking us out. And so that's what I'm looking for on these cover letters and resumes. Did they take a couple extra minutes to actually write in our business name in their cover letter? Did they, did they actually look at the website? Did they, who's going the extra mile? And then in the interview process, I'm going to say number one for me, if they do not come with a list of questions to ask me at the end of the interview, I have a really hard time getting past that. I'm usually not rooting for candidates who do not have any questions for me or about the
right, right.
company or about the role. You
Mhm.
don't seem interested.
It's
right?
funny you should say that. We had an experience. We're also hiring, as you can well imagine, because it's spring,
It's
and
spring.
we had a candidate for acupuncturist, and the candidate would have been absolutely phenomenal as an addition, as a practical addition to the clinic.
Yeah.
But upon reflection, I couldn't get past the idea that this candidate never expressed interest in the company, was not
Yeah.
excited about the company, was excited about the job because it was in the right location with the right compensation,
Yeah.
but really had no insight or interest in the company. And just to your last point, when asked questions, well, what questions do you have for us? What makes you excited about joining this particular company? Nothing.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
people will say, "Oh, I think you answered everything, in our previous conversation." No, I didn't. No, I didn't. There's so many things you can ask. ChatGPT will give you 20 questions to ask any employer, right? So, right now, there are a lot of people looking for a lot of different types of jobs. And
Mm-hmm.
whoever's listening, that's my biggest advice is I know it's depleting. I know it's exhausting to continue to look for jobs. And of course, we have a lot of people applying because of unemployment too. And it's, to be able to meet the requirements of unemployment, you have to apply to a certain amount of positions per week. So I'm mindful of that as well. Like I'm really looking for the people. I interviewed someone this morning who sought out our company and she absolutely loves this model and is passionate about this in her own life and professional life. She's a professional administrative assistant. She loves administrative assisting, right? Every person on this team loves what they do. And why shouldn't the front desk person love what they do? They should. Those people exist who really have a passion for organization and serving the team and serving the community and welcoming patients and keeping everyone organized. Like that is a passion and skill for certain people. So for our listeners, I mean, that's my best encouragement when you're hiring for this position is, we never expect anyone to stay at the front desk role forever. It's a role that, can have higher turnover, but you can find people who will stay for multiple years in that role.
What's your benchmark? How many years are you hiring for typically?
For front desk, I would say 2 to 3 years
Yeah, I'd
as
say
a,
the same.
right, as a starting place of like, you know what, that's a win. That's
Yeah,
a win.
2 to 3 years.
And
Yeah.
2 to 3. And we have two support admins that have been on our team one's been on the team for a little over 2 years and one's almost coming to the 2 year mark and they're settled and they're solid,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
When you find the right people, they will stay. But in this position, you often will get people who are working towards something else, right? Which makes sense. Right? They're going to school for something in healthcare, or um, it's a stepping stone on the way to something for a lot of candidates. And which I always feel if it's agreed upon beforehand, like we have one applicant who is an architect in Colombia, but they moved here and it takes 2 years to have those credentials transfer here, right? And they literally said, like, look, I have no issue starting an entry level. I want to be in this environment. I want to, do this type of work for 2 years while I'm getting my credential transferred. Okay. If that person's the best candidate for the role, then we're in agreement. This is a 2 year relationship, right?
Hmm.
And that's fine because then we can plan. And if we can make that agreement together, then I'm good with it. Right.
Hmm.
But if those people that are out there that really want to grow with your team and would be so happy to do this work long term, if that's a unicorn.
Yeah. We have our front desk is celebrating 9 years next week. Yeah.
Woo!
But and my recommendation or experience with that is this was a career that was to wind down. So
Yeah.
our front desk had done all the climbing she wanted to do and was looking
Right.
for, the last 10 years, and
Yeah.
hopefully we'll keep her longer.
Yeah. So you have a unicorn on your team,
Yeah,
right?
I do. I do.
It's actually Administrative Professionals Appreciation this Wednesday.
Is it? Thank you for
Yeah.
reminding me.
April 23rd, 2025. Admin Appreciation Day. Yeah. What do you usually do to appreciate your admins?
We do lots of shout outs and, cake always goes down well in our office. for the afternoon dip when everyone goes scurrying around looking for something, a cake always goes down quite well.
Yeah. Love that.
How about you?
This year, well, we're going to do a potluck at our staff meeting on Wednesday. And then we encourage the whole team to like bring a card or little trinkets, for our support staff. And this year's gifts are a plant and a chocolate bar and a gift card to one of our local women's retail clothing. And then they were giving away like a free perfume with the gift cards. So then they get perfume also. So it's a fun little gifty. In the past, we've done books are always good. We keep a list. Anyone who joins the team adds their like list of favorite things to a document. So I think I've talked about this before, so that if anyone wants to go see like what's Anna's favorite color, what's her favorite flower, right? What's her favorite type of music? What books is she into? Then you can just go kind of sneak and peek on the document. And so we've done like baskets before where it's like all their favorites together and things like that.
Yeah, that's lovely. That document is invaluable in a workplace, isn't it? Absolutely
It
invaluable.
is. It is because things come up. I mean, I don't know how your team is doing, but we've got people with a lot of, illness going on in their family or emergencies going on. Or team members out with emergent things happening, and it's just helpful to know like what would they appreciate in those moments most.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It was interesting. We did a little survey just to update that information in our clinic, and the number of practitioners that, or in our case practitioners that didn't want things, they wanted words of gratitude.
Yes.
So it's really important to know that, because it can help throughout the month or throughout the year, just making sure that those people get extra special words when they need
Oh,
it.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. What else do you want to convey for our listeners when they're entering into hiring for an administrative assistant or their first kind of front desk support person?
I'd say get really clear on what the job is, because oftentimes I hear things like, well, I just want them to take this over and take it off my hands.
Yes.
And without the clarity or the process put in place behind it and articulating that, it can be really challenging to communicate to somebody that you're hiring what you want them to do.
I
Taking
agree with that.
something off your hand is not a job description.
I agree with that. I think there are certainly situations where you could hire the right person to help you develop the role, but that would need to be clear from the beginning. Ideally, we're presenting them with something very, very clear on roles and responsibilities, what they should be prioritizing, what you expect from them, what does it mean to be successful. Like all of those things need to be laid out beforehand.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Also, having very clear ideas about things like compensation and vacation and time off. I think oftentimes clinic owners kind of fudge it and I hate to put it in those terms, but really, don't want to be clear about it because they're afraid or not feeling secure in what they're
Mm-hmm.
offering. And it
Yes.
leads to confusion and it leads to trouble down the line,
Yeah.
without that clarity. Somebody who's going to join your team needs to know what to expect, and you need
Yeah.
to feel confident in what you're offering.
Yeah. And, offer the compensation you can afford,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or offer the amount of hours you can afford for an appropriate compensation, right? I think a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times when we're starting out and we want to add that first support person, it's scary to feel like, we have the budget to pay them. So get clear, right? Can you
Mm-hmm.
only pay for 10 hours a week? Great. Then only pay for 10 hours a week, right? Don't
Right.
overextend yourself. Don't ask them to overextend themselves. And getting clear with laws in your state around, because if it's your first hire, then this is where all the learning comes in of like, what's minimum wage? What are you required to pay them for, right? All of their time at your, working is what you're required to pay them for. But what are the kind of standard expectations for pay time off, sick pay, like learning all of those rules in your state before you bring that first person on, because it can definitely get
Mm-hmm.
a little sticky.
Yeah, exactly. And I think to that sort of that point around, if you're going to hire them for 10 hours, don't expect them to be coming in for 10 hours plus 10 minutes each shift, making 11 hours. Or,
Yeah. Yeah.
it, we have to be good with our boundaries and we have to be clear with our expectations. And that
Mm-hmm.
way we set up our employees for success, I think.
Yeah. Okay. As we close, I want to know your very favorite interview question that you like to ask
Gosh, you put
candidates.
me on the spot with that one, Kendall. I'm going to have to think about it.
I'll share
I
my,
don't
my
have a
favorite.
favorite one.
Think about it. I'll share mine. I did, y'all. I put her on the spot. That's my bad. My favorite interview question lately is at the end, what's something you prepared for today that I didn't ask you about that you would like to share with me?
Ooh, I like that.
And that came from one of our team members, because we always do team interviews at the final stage when we have candidates. So they come interview with the whole staff. And one of the team members said, okay, I'm going to ask this question off script, but her husband does a lot of interviewing. And she said, this is my husband's favorite interview question. And she asked it. And I was like, oh, yes, that is so good, because you can imagine yourself in that situation and you've prepared and you're really excited for the job, and then they don't ask you the thing that you've prepared
Yes.
most for, right?
Say it again, Kendall. What's the question?
What is something you prepared for today I didn't ask you about that you would like to share with me?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I'm going to add that in.
Okay. It's a good one. Did any come to mind for you?
No.
No. If anyone wants a list of our, kind of overall interview questions for admins in particular, feel free to email me, Kendall at wellnesscentercreators.com. I'm happy to share. AI is also really great for creating interview questions. So as you get clear on your job description for the support role, and a lot of times in small businesses, the role is not just sitting at a desk answering phones. It is way more complex than that. And so we invite you to get really clear on what it is. And if you can go into an AI system and put that in, right? Here's the job description. Please give me 20 interview questions that, help me look at personality and culture fit and organizational skills and like what's most important to you in the role. And you will get those questions.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Actually, I have one final point before we
Okay,
close up
let's hear
this
it.
podcast. That it was a relatively recent learning, Kendall, and that is that after the interview, it's really good to provide not only yourself, but the team members that might have helped you interview the space and the opportunity to individually reflect on how the interview went,
Mm-hmm.
I realized that I had inadvertently been influencing, I suspect, output from my employees who have been supporting me in the interviews. So, for example, we had this candidate come in, and I went into the kitchen after this person left, and I said, "What do you think? Yay, nay?" And my team said, and I quote, "Yes." And the other one said, "Sure." And so to me, that was a positive response. And I went home, thought about it, talked it through. And then I came back and I said no to that candidate based on the fact that what we talked about earlier, no interest really in the company. And what I learned was that it's really important for each member of that team to have that individual opportunity to maybe go through a Google form or to go through a written questionnaire where they can put their thoughts down, and then you can collate that information and have a discussion based on that.
Yeah. I think it's really smart. We absolutely have an influence on our team in the way that we react. And we've moved to much more structured, like scale-based scoring during interviews as well. Like these admin interviews that I'm doing, we're scoring every answer on 1 to 5, and then there's a scoring rubric at the end of, like let's be a little more objective. Let's add it up, and then what scores did the teammate give during the interview? Right?
Yeah,
So that they're not then basing their response off of how I'm responding in the moment.
exactly. Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
good stuff.
Yeah. We're in agreement. Thanks for your time today, Kendall.
Always good to see you. And again, for our listeners, if you're in a transitional phase or hiring phase and you need some more support, let us know.
Thank you for tuning in to the Wellness Centre Creators podcast. We hope you found this episode informative and valuable.
If you enjoyed the show, please consider subscribing and leaving a rating and review. Your support helps us reach more health and wellness professionals like you.
For additional resources, show notes, and more episodes, visit our website at wellnesscentrecreators.com.
We'd love to connect with you and hear your thoughts, experiences, and questions. Feel free to reach out to us through our website or social media channels.
Once again, thank you for listening. We appreciate your dedication to providing exceptional patient care.
Join us next time as we continue exploring the world of wellness center creation. Until then, take care and keep making a difference.
Thanks for listening to the Wellness Centre Creators podcast.